Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Mona's Rants. I am your host, Mona Sheikh. You guys, nice to be back. Feeling very orange today. Got a little bit of snuffles, but almost gone. Hello, James. Hello, Tim. Tim said, yeah, Mona, your two favorite fans and followers are here as always. I love you guys. Thank you for always being here and for being so supportive. You guys, yesterday I had a really great conversation with my friend Nichelle Murdoch. She is a Black female producer who's been producing a show at the Comedy Store for 17 years. And we just had like one of the most dynamic conversations I've had with one of my guests here. But today I wanted to bring another comedian on. And he's a fellow South Asian comic. I've had the opportunity and pleasure to work with him. He's a Chicago-based comedian. He has a brand new album coming out that we're going to talk about. But we're also going to talk about how we as South Asian comedians in America, are we the new kids on the comedy block? And what are the expectations of us and the kind of comedy we can do and the kind of comedy we can't do? So we're going to have a little powwow with my very talented friend, Prateek Srivastava. How are you?
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me? How's the tech? Is the tech okay?
It's a little like echoey.
Okay, let's try. How's this sound?
That's better. That's
Okay.
way better. That's way better. Yeah. Hey, Raghu, how are you? Nice to see you.
What up?
Prateek, I'm very proud of the fact that I said your last name very quickly and very properly.
Yes, I think that's the key. Is everybody needs to, whenever they get my name, just power through. Don't hesitate.
Yeah, you can't stop. You commit all the way.
Yes, you have to commit all the way. Full commitment, full confidence, or as they say, confidence. You have to go full force.
Confidence.
Yeah.
Prateek, is this the Unabomber look? Is that for the pandemic or is that your new look?
The Unibomber, it's so cute. It's one of those things where I had a beard in high school, not as fulfilling as this. Listen, this year has been a year of pivots. Some things don't happen the way you want. So this beard is a flag. It's a manifestation. It's a representation of all the plans that we didn't get to do this year and the plans we've had to modify. And sometimes good things come out of changed plans. So that's what this beard represents.
Got it. Raghu said that mic looks like you are about to bust out a pop song.
Yeah, we'll be singing a little Taylor Swift at the end of this if we can get the music rights.
I'm always down for some Taylor Swift, as corny as that sounds. Prateek, and how long have you been doing comedy for?
10 years. Yeah, it's been a long time.
You've been doing comedy. Were you did you have like a proper career before this, where you were like an engineer or a lawyer or something, and then you were like, how do I piss my parents off?
I mean, I had a job before this. I wasn't like, a lawyer or a doctor or anything like that. I went to a DePaul University, if anyone knows where that is. It's a big Catholic school in the Midwest. Okay. I got 2 degrees, so at least I did that part right. I got 2 degrees in economics and management information systems, which I did nothing with that second degree, you guys. I was working at the Chamber of Commerce in Lincoln Park, which is like a little town in Chicago, when I started falling in love with stand-up. There was a club that's now the Laugh Factory, but before the Laugh Factory was called the Lakeshore Theater, and they were doing like a discount Tuesday night or whatever, and just watching live stand-up is kind of what made me fall in love with the idea of performing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, did you ever so did you just one day where you know what, I'm just gonna write out a 2-3 minute set and I'm just gonna go up?
Yeah, it was one. So in high school and parts of college, I did some writing stuff and some short film stuff. So I like the idea of being funny and writing my own material. I was definitely into that as a concept. And then funny enough, to kind of bring it back to South Asians and brown people, my first kind of foray into performing wasn't necessarily stand-up. It was hosting the South Asian Student Association New Talent Night, which that was something my parents, contrary to Indian parent, South Asian parent logic, they encouraged me to host that and do that. They were like, okay, yeah, you should do that. So it was kind of cool to do skits. And then we did some funny stand-up thing for it. But that was kind of what, led me to kind of be like, hey, I'm interested in performing. I liked the reaction that I was getting and that need for validation a little bit, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to just make funny videos, do like what the Lonely Island was doing, because that was like very popular when I was in college, was Lonely Island and funny goof songs or whatever. But what I liked about stand-up and what kind of was that like aha moment for stand-up was, oh, if you want to do a funny video, you got to make sure your friends are on board and be reliable, and you have to depend on other people. Whereas with stand-up, it was like, hey, it's just me up there with the mic. It lives and dies with me. So it was that kind of aha moment one day. I'm like, oh, I should just take 2 minutes and go to this bar and talk into a microphone and see how it works, and then sing karaoke afterwards.
Right. Of course. I mean, comedy is we are South Asian and even Middle Eastern, folks who've been doing comedy. We are the new kids on the comedy block, right? And I feel like, and tell me how you feel about this. I mean, you've been doing this for a decade. I've been doing this for a little bit over a decade too. And I feel like, when you are someone of South Asian, Middle Eastern descent, and when you step on stage, of course, it's always a novel thing to be like a brown person on a lineup. That's one by itself. But the other thing is that there's also this expectation of South Asian and Middle Eastern comics of the kind of topics we can talk about and things we can talk about and things that we can't really talk about. Or, if Prateek went up there and started talking about it's like, why do guys send dick pics? People might be like, yeah, that's funny. And like, I relate to that. But I think it's almost like we're expected to talk about issues, and we're all expected to talk about something really smart and something nobody's thought of. And it's like, yes, the brown minority person has thought this through.
Oh yeah, there's definitely this kind of, you have to be like the mild minority of comedy too, which I think that's what's the beauty of right now. You mentioned this concept of we're the new kids on the block. I think, there's a little bit of this explosion in a variety of different types of South Asian comedians right now. And I think that's what's integral to, kind of assimilating this kind of community in the stand-up community. Because you see there are Latinx comedians of different types of varieties. There's high energy performers, there's low energy comedians, there's all the cerebral performers, political performers, dirty performers. And I think that's the next step for South Asian performers is we have to be able to have, somebody who's more broader on stage, whereas someone who's more cerebral on stage. And that's where I like to kind of fit in, is I like to do, I'll touch on social issues. I wouldn't say I'm a political comedian. I'm more of like a social commentator, in the vein of I get the Lewis Black comparison all the time because I'm loud and I yell and I have glasses, but like I'll talk about issues, but it's through the lens of me. And I think that's kind of the filter I use for my material is, there might be a dirty word or two in there, but it's through the guise of a personal story. And if it's personal enough, I think people will relate to. But at the same time, I've done a few of those uncle and auntie parties or whatever, and you have to read the room too a little bit. You may not want to do that joke that works at the dive bar or the comic book shop that may not translate with the uncles and aunties party. So again, there's a little bit of adjustment too, depending on the show.
I agree with you, right? I mean, look, it's about knowing your crowd, right?
Yeah.
You got to know your audience. You can't just be like, I just have this one set and I run it through. And look,
oh my God, I hate those comedians.
Listen, and when you're young, if you've been doing comedy like 5 years, 6 years, and you have your type 5 or your type 10, and you're like, this is what I feel most comfortable with, I'm not knocking that. God bless. You're new to the game. But
absolutely.
If you've been doing it for a little over a decade, I would think that you have written enough and have enough kind of material to be able to do diverse kind of groups, where I get asked to do, I've done a lot of Indian auntie and uncle parties. I've done anniversaries. I've done wedding parties and stuff like that. But to me, the Pakistani crowd always beats out the Indian crowd in conservatism, except if it's for Gujaratis. Gujaratis are very conservative.
They can definitely, depending on the region of that too. And then, also, I mean, maybe it's also the double standard of you being a female. You may have a higher,
100%.
I think that definitely 100%. Is there,
Yeah.
It's
100%.
unfortunate that you should be able to make as many dick pic jokes and sending me jokes as I. In fact, you should make even more than me.
Prateek, let me tell you something. None of this estrogen is holding me back from making those jokes. Let me tell you.
Hell yeah.
I don't give a shit. Maybe I won't do them in a conservative South Asian or Middle Eastern crowds, but I definitely do them. Right? Again, you got to know your audience. So I totally understand that. But do you also feel like how much do you think that your kind of material has evolved from where you started to where you are today? Like you said, you're not a political comic. Look, I wasn't really such a political comic the way I've become the past 4 years. And I think it's because I have fucking some severe PTSD from growing up in a dictatorship in Pakistan. So it really kind of has this moment of me kind of almost freaking out on the inside and being like, oh my God, I'm going to get a dictatorship again? Not again. It's like, not again, And
a little bit of a trigger. Yeah, I got you.
It's a trigger.
It's in terms of evolving material. Yeah, I think every good performer's material evolves over the years. For me, I think when I was early, here was the thing early on, and maybe I'm just an anomaly or a unicorn. I didn't touch too much on my ethnic heritage when I was first starting out. I was more just doing like, I was doing more like Mitch Hedberg, like one-liner type comics. I was kind of finding my way into how can I talk about my experiences without maybe being, too hacky or whatever, just making the typical 7/11, 9/11 jokes. I think one of my first jokes about my race was, my roommate hacked into my phone and now I have an alarm that goes off every time it's 7/11, 9/11. Like that was like the first joke that I made. So like it's evolved a little. I'm not doing jokes like that anymore. I definitely had an internal conversation about whether or not to do the accent, and what I came with for me was I can't do the Indian accent, so I'm not going to touch that material for me.
Okay, that's fair. That's entirely fair. I think it's exactly that. It is the variety of look, we started with Russell Peters, and now it's everything else. We got your Veer Das and you got
Hassan Minhaj is more of like a commentator.
Like Kumail Nanjiani, like now.
Oh yeah.
And they're all males. None of them are females. But I'm trying to get my word.
Well, that's where you're going to come in. You're going to be the...
I'm trying, Prateek. I swear to God, I promise you. I was fucking putting in 100-hour weeks last year. I think for the past 2 years, I've been putting in 100-hour weeks. I'm not
killing it. Hell yeah.
Working my ass off. And then the 2020 came along and was like,
fuck your progress. Yeah.
Fuck your progress. Fuck
That's
you.
Why I love it. You're doing the show every week. You had Stanhope on. You're killing it, Mona. You're doing
it. I'm trying, man. I'm fucking trying. Stanhope, that was a very fun and interesting interview, to say the least. He was high and drunk off his ass when he did that.
I guess he's sober right now. He's trying like a sober 30 days or something.
He is?
Yeah, he might be.
Then he must have been fucking drinking for the century when he was on my goddamn podcast. What the fuck?
Also, I love how he's trying to be sober. Of all years to try to be sober, it's this year.
Well, this is the year you take up drinking. And
yes. I know actually a lot of brown people that have started drinking just this year.
I don't think I've ever drank so much tequila in my life until this year. And last night, I got done with my live stream, and I was like, I need like an outlet because I haven't been out of the house because, we got the LA County. We have an LA County alert. I shit you not.
Yeah.
Blaring on our phone saying, do not go outside your house.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Because our cases are through the fucking roof.
Through the roof. Yeah.
Our cases are like 7,000 cases a day right now in LA County. It's pretty fucking ridiculous. And I was like, you know what? Fuck that. I need my weed right now, or I'm gonna like punch a bitch. I need my fucking weed. And I went and got my edibles. I got my pre-roll-ups. I got my vape. I was like, no, fuck it. And it's funny because right before I got in, my mom called me, and she's in Pakistan right now. She was like, what are you about to do? And I was like, you're not going to like what I'm about to do. She's like, what are you going to do? I was like, I'm going to go buy some weed. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Because my mom used to get high with me when she was here with me.
Well, I'm sure in Pakistan, they probably have the good stuff over there.
Pakistan has the good stuff. But my mom, when she was staying with me in Los Angeles briefly, my mom and I would get high together.
Hell yeah. That's progress right there. I hope you talk about that on stage. We need that in the sphere. Because see, you bring up a good point with that. I think there is that, a lot of comedians of the South Asian or just any sort of first generation background, they'll talk about their parents. And then I think in the comedy sphere, there's this mindset of immigrant parents being kind of conservative or whatever. And I think that's cool that you have this experience with your mom where you two are smoking weed. That's just, it goes against what people think. And we need more stories like that right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, dude, I've been talking about that. My mom getting high with me for well over 5 years. So I was like a little bit ahead of the curve of getting high. But I don't know, man. I feel like, have you been doing like a lot of online shows and stuff, because of COVID, or what has that been for you?
Yeah, pretty much. I haven't done an in-person show since March. I mean, I'm quarantined with the family. They needed some help with things at home. So, because of, and to be precautious for them, I'm kind of sacrificing doing person shows right now. So it's all virtual for me strictly. And it's it's an adjustment. It can be weird at times doing virtual shows, but hey, I've had weirder shows in person than any Zoom show. I've had batteries thrown at me in person. So hey, Zoom shows are pretty good,
Batteries thrown at you?
Yeah, I opened for it was a metal band that played NSYNC cover songs. This is like 5 years ago, and I opened for them.
And they were throwing batteries at you to get you off stage?
Yeah, like there was somebody in the crowd who was like, because I made a joke. What did I make a joke about that people got mad at? Yeah, I made a joke about Short Circuit. Remember that movie, Short Circuit?
Johnny Number 5.
Yeah, and the joke was that
I didn't realize reboot that fucking movie. I was like, don't you fucking do that. Don't you dare do that.
I mean, Justin Trudeau can play the guy.
Brown face?
Yeah, I thought that was a brown actor, and then I learned only 5 years ago, and that was the joke I made, is that he's a white dude in brown face makeup, but this is some good makeup. And apparently this white dude got so offended, so he started throwing the fucking batteries at him.
Oh, fuck that guy.
But I ducked and dodged. I Neo in Matrix did. It went back and forth. And hey, I got paid up front. That's what's important, Mona. You know all about that. The money up front.
gotta get you. Honestly, can I just say something? And this is not a jab at my own people, but especially if it's like South Asian people, you gotta get your money up front, man.
Yes.
Gotta get your money up front. I'm sorry, brown people. I love my people, but there's just some things I just don't mess with. About a year and a half ago, Prateek, I got reached out by this certain doctor, this physician organization that's exclusive to Pakistanis, right? And they have chapters around the country, and they have a lot of money. And they reached out to me. They're like, "Hey, would like to fly you out to Miami to perform on this yacht."
Okay.
On a handful of like very wealthy Pakistanis, and we saw your stuff. Would love to fly you out to Miami. We'll pay for everything. Good. Yeah. And let's get you your flight and your hotel. And I was like, that's great, but I need my money right now to hold the date.
Yeah.
We're going to get you the money. Don't worry. And this was all happening in a matter of 1 week. Right? We're like, so I canceled my plans I canceled my shows for the weekend because I was flying out on Friday.
Right.
It was on Saturday and then flying back on Sunday, right? Miami. They booked me my flight right away. They're booking my hotel right away. I'm like, oh, this is great. So then I'm like, hey, I still haven't gotten the money. So where's the money at?
No.
We're going to get you the money. We're going to get you the money. We're going to get you the money. Okay. Literally like 2 days before the event. Not even 1 day before the event. And I was like, hey, man, I haven't got my money. So I'm not stepping on that plane until you give me my money.
Yeah. Gotta lay down the hammer.
They turn around and they're like, hey, listen. We have to cancel you because last year or the year 2 years ago, we had this other Pakistani female comedian, Shazia Mirza, who was on, and we told her that she had to keep it G-rated, and she got in and she was like hurling out profanities in Hindi and in Urdu, and we just didn't like her stuff. So I was like, okay, so what does that have to do with me?
Right.
Well, we just don't want to take a chance as to what she did. You're going to do that again. I was like, what is one comic doing something has something to do with another comic? Exactly. What does that have to do with me?
You can't compare. And also, they saw your material up top, so why did they even ask you in the first? If they were so,
I'm sorry about it.
It was a cock tease. It was a fuckboy. It was a promoter fuckboy. That's what it was.
It was a total fucking cock tease indeed. Exactly. You're giving me like a fake boner for no reason.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, okay, that's weird. And I was like, listen. I don't give a shit if you cancel on me or not. You still have to pay me because I cancel my dates for you guys.
Yeah, some sort of security deposit cancellation fee or something. Yeah.
Not just that, like, because now you're canceling a day before.
Absolutely.
You owe me the whole amount. Whether I step on that plane or not, you owe me that entire amount. Oh, we don't know. I was like, you have 30 minutes to have the head of your organization give me a call, or I am going on my social media and I'm going to put you motherfuckers on blast.
Yeah, you got to do it.
Right? Within 15 minutes, I get a call from the head guy.
Yeah.
What is going on? I'm like, what is going on? And I was like, you guys are trying to fuck me out of my money is what's going on. Yeah. Oh, he's like, pay up. Oh, well, you need to calm down. I'm like, don't tell me to calm down. You calm down.
Yeah.
Give me my money, and then we'll talk. Well, you still had like that free trip to Miami. I don't give a shit about a trip to Miami.
Yeah.
I mean, my entire objective was to come there, perform, and then come back. That's it. Like, I don't fucking know anybody in Miami. Like, why are you, like, pushing this on me?
And why are they throwing this cancellation on you last minute?
That's
bizarre. It's just that shady kind of brown.
Totally shady.
Yeah.
Long story short, Prateek, I got all my money. I didn't go to Miami. So that's why I have learned through that story. And then I called up Shazia Mirza because I'm friends with her. And I was like, bitch, you lost me a job because you out there running your goddamn mouth. And now they think all brown bitches do the same shit. It's your goddamn fault, Shazia. She's like, sorry, Mountains.
And again, to the point of, it like, okay, one brown person does one thing and we get lumped in. And what's worse is we get lumped in by our own people. Our own people are lumping us all in.
That's right. That's right. Because also you have to understand, Prateek, comedy is a new concept. It's a new idea to even the communities, South Asian, Middle Eastern communities here, right? Yeah. Because they only see it as, only American people do it, meaning white people do it or black people do it.
Yeah.
Our people don't really do it, unless it's Russell Peters. Russell Peters is the fucking end all be all. Somebody the other day was telling me, they're like, oh, I love Russell Peters. I'm like, still? You know how many options are out there now?
That's the thing. Or like when you're trying to get people to come to your shows, like, oh yeah, we'll come, but then they'll go see Hassan. I'm not trying to knock Hassan Minhaj, but it's like there's independent performers too.
That's correct.
And I think that like you said, there's this notion of, oh, it's only once you're on TV, then they'll come after you. Right.
There's like this weird, like monolithic way of looking at things. It's like there could only be one, and it's like
time. And it's why is that?
It's so
when the South Asian diaspora is so variety and diverse, why not make the comedian diaspora so
that's right. Well, exactly, absolutely. And I feel like and speaking of that, right? Do you feel like with all like the comedians that now are up there, like your Hassan Minhaj and your Kumail Nanjiani's and all that, I feel, and you tell me what you think about it, I feel like a lot of the conversation, I remember watching Hassan Minhaj's special on Netflix, and I thought it was really well done. I thought it was.
He's great.
I thought it was really well done, and and the interesting thing is, like, whenever I watch stand up of like South Asian or even Middle Eastern male comics, there's never a conversation about tackling problems that are really kind of plaguing our own societies and our own communities, they'll just touch upon it like here and there, but it's just like, hey, misogyny is a very big part of our fucking culture. When the fuck are we gonna start tackling that shit? Hey, we also, brown people also can be racist against other minorities and other people.
Yeah.
When the fuck are we gonna talk about that shit? You know what I'm saying?
Our mental health, these are all things that are kind of taboos. You kind of dip your toe in the water, and I've started so there's some shows in Chicago pre-pandemic where, it was like a predominantly South Asian crowd. And, I definitely wanted to make sure I did well and read the room, but also I was like, you know what, let me try to work in some material and kind of test those waters and push those boundaries a little bit. So I have some jokes about mental health that I mentioned on the album. But, it's one of those things where, I definitely am like, self-conscious of, trying them in an all South Asian room, because you might not even from they're going to like come after me afterwards. It's more just about like, hey, I just want to do well. That's the main thing, is you just want to make sure you kill, because I think I definitely have that pressure sometimes. If it's an all South Asian room, I want to make sure to do the best I can in there, because I do think that, you know, our own people are going to be harder on, you know, if there's like 3 white comics and 1 brown comic and it's an all South Asian audience, they're probably going to be harder on the 1 brown comic than the 3 white comics. The white comics will almost get like a pass from the South Asian crowd. But I don't think that's exclusive to just South Asian audiences. Like, you could see that in a predominantly all black room, the white comic might get more of a, you know, a mascot pass, if you will, by the black crowd. They're like, yeah, this guy's funny, he's crazy. But then the next comic, and if it's a black person on stage, then they might get that pressure again of, okay, man, make me laugh. You know, it's that thing of that a little bit. So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Like, by the way, how did you do with that South Asian crowd when you talked a little bit about mental health?
So the story that I wrapped it in was I do this story about, you know, accidentally carrying a monoxide detector in a backpack onto the bus, but it's wrapped in this idea of that when I get anxious, I forget that I look like this. So it's wrapped in this idea of anxiety and mental health. So I'm kind of dipping the toe in the water, talking about these themes, you know, talking about anxiety, talking about pressures of parental pressures, because I talk about in my act, I talk about how, you know, I have a younger sister, but my younger sister's smarter and better than me. So it's that anxiety of being the older sibling, but not being, you know, the favorite in the eyes. So like dipping the toe in the water, but again, making it relatable so that, you know, yeah, someone might be South Asian. Maybe they may not, you know, they might be hesitant to laugh at the idea of mental health, but they might be like, hey, I've had those feelings too. And so at least it's breaking down that wall. You know, we're pushing the cart just a little bit further along. Am I going to get a standing ovation from it? No, but it's still just pushing it forward, pushing those ideas a little bit. And I will say that, you know, those bits, you know, they do fine. And then I have like other things to kind of mix it up to kind of get the energy back or whatever. But I will have people come up to me after those shows and say, hey, I appreciate that you talked about that. So while maybe I'm not getting everybody in the room, the audiences, some people are appreciative. Hey, I like that you're talking about different things. I get that a lot from South Asian crowds is, oh, you're talking about different things and we like that. You know, it's not just the same old thing.
You know, Prateek, I've discovered, so I've been doing for the past 2 years, I've been doing these all-female shows. So I've been doing Desi Girls Night Out and Arab Girls Night Out and Persian Girls Night Out. And one thing that I have discovered when I do more of a gender mixed show versus an all-female lineup is that South Asian crowd, especially the women, when I do the all girls or like, you know, even like the Arab and South, you know, Middle Eastern, all that.
Yeah.
The women tend to laugh and be open more to hearing what even the edgiest stuff that the female comics on stage have to say, because they don't have a husband or a boyfriend looking at them like, oh my God, oh, you're dirty like that? Oh, you like that kind of stuff? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that means you're not a good person or good girl. Oh, you're not like a lady. Oh, or you were putting on this air of being the certain way, but you're not, right?
Right, yeah.
It expects you to behave and be a certain way, right? Be in a certain box. And it's fascinating because when I did my Desi Girls Night Out, we had 300 Desi women that showed up to the show.
That's awesome.
Right? And the craziest thing was, Prateek, like I headlined the show, and when I went up at the end, I was doing some edgy stuff. And I asked the crowd, and I was like, would you like some dirty jokes? I asked them, right? And they were like, we are dying for dirty jokes, right? It's almost like, hey, this is ladies' night, so we get to do whatever the fuck we want tonight, right? And the moment I launched into the dirty jokes, these women lost their shit, Prateek.
That's awesome.
But they didn't want to leave. They were partying till we fucking shut the place down. It was like a giant concert. And and what I learned from it is that our cultures or even our societies, it's not that they're always, it's not just that the women are always conservative. It's that sometimes the women choose to be conservative because their partners are conservative.
Exactly. Yeah.
They need to keep the peace. They need to appear as good women. They have to put up the airs of, oh, I'm a good, Hindu woman or a good Muslim woman or a good Indian woman or good whatever. This expectation to be this a certain way to fit in certain fucking fucked up ass molds. You know what I'm saying, Prateek?
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head with that. And that sounds like a great show. That sounds like South Asian Coachella. That's a great show.
It's South Asian Coachella.
Shut it down, get the rosé bottles flowing. It's great.
We did. We had some drunk women at the end of the show. Oh my God, it was crazy.
You bring up a good point that there are now, we're moving, and that's kind of part of this new Kids on the Block idea. The South Asian themed shows, or the South Asian audience shows, are modifying and evolving too. You're getting, different types of crowds. You're getting people from Indian people or South Asian people from all different types of backgrounds, younger people too, and they're kind of losing that kind of conservative edge a little bit depending on who they're with. And I think that's great. We did a show for a while in Chicago called Simmer Brown, where the idea of it was we'd have samosas before the show starts, but then once the show starts, all bets are off. We're going off the rails, and I think and what was good about that show was we got a good mix of South Asians. We also got a good mix of international crowds too. We were getting, because we were right by the school, so we were getting a lot of international students from Russia. We were getting Japanese students as well. And it was just, everybody was there just to laugh. We're literally uniting people together. And I think that's the evolution of what we're trying to do right now is we're doing comedy and we're talking about different things, but we're also bringing people together and talking about things in a way that is different than what people are normally used to hearing from us. We're kind of presenting ourselves in a different lens, because I like that your stand-up, I've seen it, you're great, you're high energy too. And it is that thing of, if you're a South Asian performer, sometimes the mindset going in is you're going to be lower energy and whatever. And I like that we both we flip the interpretation of what people are expecting from us.
Yeah. And I honestly, and for me, it's like, I just try to give myself as much freedom as I can when I go on stage, right? It's like, I can tell you as a female comic, sometimes we go on stage and we talk about certain edgy stuff, or we talk about certain things. Like, I did a show not too long ago, just a Zoom show I did about 2 weeks ago. There's this whole bit I do about why there are so many school gun shooters in America.
Yeah.
And we don't have them in the Middle East, and we don't even have them in South Asia. We don't have kids who shoot up the fucking school. And my logic behind it is because South Asian and Middle Eastern parents don't fuck around. They beat the shit out of their kids, and white people don't beat their kids anymore. And that's a problem, right? I mean, we're now running into... Now, it can be a little bit uncomfortable. I can understand that, because people are like, oh my God, are you advocating violence? I'm like, hear me out. Would you rather that your kid is fucked up in school? I was like, because for us, because of all the beatings and all the trauma in our head, we wait till we're adults, then we cause havoc on the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You need that toughness. And I think there's a lot of that right now with parents they want to be their friend. They don't want to be the disciplinarian. I think parents need to kind of, it's funny. Like I work with a lot of parents for this company, and there is this kind of mindset of, you want to be tough. You want to let them have their, cell phone when they're 4, but it's also like, does a kid really need their cell phone when they're 4? Do they need to be on TikTok when they're 3 years old? And I understand it from both. I understand a little bit from the parents, because they don't want their kid to be left out too, but it's also like, you got to lay down the law. You got to have some standards.
For sure. You get 1 hour of TikTok, maybe.
If you clean your room.
With a gajillion restrictions.
Were your parents like super strict, or were they kind of like growing up? I mean,
were my parents super strict? He asked me. Let's say I grew up on a goddamn military camp. How about that?
Well, I mean, you're smoking weed with your mom, so I was like, is that just an evolution thing, or
that is a massive evolution? That is me pushing the boundaries on all fucking ends. That's what me as Prateek. Like, I was born and raised in Pakistan. I wasn't born and raised here. Yeah. So our upbringing was a lot different than for someone like yourself, who's born and raised here. Our parents were very physically violent towards us growing up. It was just the norm. Like, we would go to school with, like, my mom used to beat the shit out of us with a rubber pipe, and we would have these giant scars on our arms and our backs when we would go to school. Like, you couldn't even touch yourself because it would
sting. Yeah.
Rubber. It would sting. But it was like normal. It wasn't considered. Am I advocating that? No, I am not advocating that. But since you're asking me what kind of stuff we grew up with tough love, man. When it came for exams, like midterm exams or final exams, all our toys got taken away. Everything got taken away. I remember so I have 4 older brothers, and my 4th oldest brother was not good in school. Like, never has he been good in school. And I was really good in school. And I remember like the night of one of the final exams we were having, and he was about to go to sleep, and my mom was like working with him, trying to make him memorize this test for like history or something. And like 10 o'clock at night, we're about to go to sleep, and he goes, Mama, what if I forget all this by the morning? And my mom's like, if you forget it, I will beat the shit out of you to remember you, to make you remember it. I was like, God, right.
That is some that's some second level Jedi mind of fear.
Oh no, my brother, like, he did all right, but
he must not have forgotten the fear word.
He did not forget the fear, let me tell you.
But then, you also hear these stories about how, Venus and Serena Williams, their dad would be verbally abusive to them to kind of get them to be, good athletes. Tiger Woods' father, there are stories that he was verbally abusive. Michael Jackson's father. So there is this. Michael
Jackson's dad was on some crazy level shit. Like,
yeah, his is too much. Yeah,
he was nuts. Yeah.
But there is that debate a little bit of, I'm not certainly advocating parents to act like that, but there is that thing of, those kids did well.
They just
100 platinum gold records. You know what I mean?
Talk about some fucking overachievement shit here, Prateek.
I've been watching the Michael Jordan, the Bulls Last Dance documentary, and I didn't realize that his dad was, he had two older brothers. His dad was, always about be your best verbal. He actually, his dad was prideful and like, yeah, I'm pushing my sons to kind of compete with one another. He was almost like patting himself on the back for creating this internal competition in the family. And it's like, also like, is it a healthy, non-abusive environment? No, it's definitely unhealthy. It's definitely abusive. But also, Michael Jordan is the greatest player ever. What is the trade-off, Mona? That's the real question. Is
what is the trade-off, Prateek? But you know what it is, Prateek. So here's also this thing, right? So my kind of counter argument to that is, I look at someone like this might be a crazy example, but I look at someone like Beyonce, right? Yeah. And Beyonce grew up in a privileged family. Her father was a very successful record executive at Columbia Records, which a lot of people don't know. So she grew up in the business, right? She grew up in privilege. He had money. She never had to go and get flip burgers to get her first money to buy her fucking demo, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
By the time she was 14 or 15, they already had a record with Columbia Records because daddy was a Columbia Record executive, right? Her mom owns a salon. She's being groomed.
Literally, she's being groomed.
Shit is just presented to her. So she's
on track. The platter is there.
The platter is there. She has to do. Now, if you look at Beyonce, Beyonce talked about this one story of how she was acting out as a teenager and Tina Knowles slapped the shit out of her. That was one incident. Yeah. But she grew up with her fucking getting the shit kicked out of her by her mom or her dad. So she grew up in a relatively very healthy family.
Healthy environment. Yeah.
And you see her success, right? So there's also that counter argument of, well, you don't have to be in a fucked up environment to be that mega successful,
I think you hit the nail on the head. There needs to be a healthy balance, which has been the theme of tonight, basically, is healthy balance. Right. Yes, don't let the kid run wild or end up like the two Coreys or something, but rein them in too, have some discipline, but also, don't be smacking the shit out of anybody, maybe fear more than violence, that's
maybe fear more than violence. And listen, sometimes look, I don't have kids, you don't have kids. I don't know to what level kids fucking drive you, where they drive you fucking nuts. My brothers have kids. One of my brothers once told me, he's like, sometimes my daughter drives me to a point where I want to pull every single piece of my hair off my head. He's wow. That's the level because kids test boundaries. They push you and they push you. They test boundaries, right? They're testing boundaries.
They're human beings. Yeah, they're learning.
Yeah. They're learning. They're just testing boundaries. They're just trying to figure stuff out. But I feel like there needs to be, just like you said, a healthy balance. But my household, my upbringing was very, very strange. Not like a lot of Desi families at all.
Yours was on the other end of the spectrum.
Totally on the other end. We weren't. I was the only girl in the family. I wasn't allowed to be a girl. Really, it wasn't really encouraged, to be like a girly girl. It wasn't tolerated. I grew up with 4 brothers. We used to beat the shit out of each other growing up.
Gotcha.
So there was a lot of already a physical altercation thing happening.
And you were the youngest in the family, right?
I'm the youngest in the family. My brother once pulled a knife on me because he was going to stab me, he said. And I turned around and I punched him in the eye, and I gave him a black eye. And then my father was like, "How did you get a, you know?" And then I ran to my dad and I said, "Dad, he said that he's gonna stab me with a knife," so I gave him a black eye. So my dad, on top of him, beat the shit out of him too.
Oh wow, okay.
To be like, don't ever fucking
don't pull a knife on your sister. Yeah, that's crazy. I have a younger sister. She's the youngest in the family, but we have like a 8.5 year difference. So we weren't like super like punchy fighty with anybody, but yeah, there was a little bit of a tension there just because of the age difference. You know what I mean? So we were less violent to each other, but there was definitely like, hey, don't touch my stuff like that, like typical sibling banter. But to kind of, talk about my parents a little bit, they were never like, oh, I'm gonna beat you up. There was definitely that little bit of a threat, like, oh, Jopper, that little. See, my Hindi is so bad, which I talk about on the album, but yeah, Jopper Mao with the hand slap. So there was definitely like the threat of it. But
you mean Tupper?
Yeah.
Tupper is a slap. So whenever an Indian parent goes like this, that means they're about to slap you in the face, is what that means.
So when I was like really misbehaving, when I was like 8, they would do that, but there was no actual follow through. It was stage combat, no contact.
Wait, did you get slapped around as a kid a little bit though by your parents?
No, they never touched me. It was a lot of just threats. I mean, the worst punishment we got was no video game and go sit in the basement. That was the worst punishment.
Sit in the basement for how long?
I mean, I did sit in the basement. One time I sat in the basement for like 45 minutes. This is when I was like 5, so like it wasn't, and then like, yeah, but then there was a lot of like, we just like, I didn't get like, I wasn't allowed to have a car in high school. Like I wasn't allowed certain privileged things that other kids got. So there was just a lot of like, oh, you have to do your work, do your studies and blah, 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 less freedoms, you know, you don't get a car. I'm like, but I have money for a car. I was working in high school too. Like, no, you can't get it. Like, we won't allow you because they have to sign some, I don't know, there's something when you're 16 that you can't just go and sign a car by yourself.
Oh, no, you have to. Yeah, you're underage.
Yeah, so like something they had to sign, they were like, we're not going to sign that. So even though I had some money and could get a used car, they're like, no, you don't get a car. So
wow,
it wasn't like a misbehaving thing. They were just like, they were tough. Studies came first,
But what about, like, were your parents about like, hey, we want you to become a doctor or a lawyer, or, like putting these kind of dreams and expectations on you to kind of deliver? Because, immigrant parents have that thing, like their younger generation to do better than they were.
You do better. So funny about doctors. So yeah, they want, my mother kind of wanted someone in the family to be a doctor, but for a very strange reason. This is that Indian unicorn anomaly thing that nobody else experienced. My mother wanted to be a doctor in India, and her parents said no. They did not want her to be a doctor. So she, in turn, wanted us to be a doctor to fulfill her dream.
Of course.
Even though her parents didn't. And the irony is, my mother wasn't allowed to be a doctor, so she went into like design. She went to design school. She became an interior designer. So she went from medicine to art, which is kind of like this weird anomaly thing. So we had this kind of art like influence in the house. I mean, I always say, like, on her birthday, I wrote that my mom is the original artist in the family. She paints, she has all these paintings all over the house. But at the same time, I will say that, yes, she's encouraging me to do comedy now and all, but I think there was a slight hesitancy when I started, because she had been an artist herself and she knew kind of the struggles of, look, this is not an easy life. It's a hustle. Right. It's a hustle job. And so I think she was a little hesitant initially, but I think at one point, once they saw me perform, I think they were like, okay, he's at least working hard. I also was working. Here's our thing. And I think this is the thing for all South Asian kids listening. Make sure you have a day job too. If you're living at home, not working, and then you're doing comedy or something, then they might have more of a problem. Yeah.
That's not gonna work out.
You gotta work more, and you gotta be tired all the time. And
you're gonna be in the basement for 2 hours. Forget about 45
minutes. Man. Oh, if I'm in the basement, that's a mini series. We're talking longer than a cricket match in Lord of the Rings.
Actually, your new room is gonna be in the basement. Because you ain't got no job and you're doing stand-up? You're doing what?
Get out of here. You're juggling fire? Get out of here with that.
Well, your parents, like, you can be whatever you want to be. You can achieve any dream you want.
They were definitely like, yeah, believe in yourself. Don't be negative, because I think at times, me and my sister used to be kind of self-conscious and like, oh, I don't know if I could do this. They were definitely like, yeah, fucking you can do whatever you want. Be practical, work hard. They were definitely instilling that. But it wasn't like silver platter, like, oh, coddling or whatever. Or there was none of that, like, give everybody a participation trophy. There was none of that. But there was also, hey, believe in yourself. don't feel bad for yourself. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Stand up for yourself. And I, especially my sister too, my parents were always like, encouraging, because she was always like, oh, what do I want to do? Or I don't know about this, or I don't know if I'm going to find friends or whatever. My parents were always like, trying to be positive with her, trying to be encouraging with her. And my sister, I say that, my sister is definitely, there is this kind of, yes, there's a double standard sometimes with, women, but at least with my family, my parents were always very encouraging to my sister. They never they also, it was funny in high school. My sister was like trying to wear more conservative clothes. And my mom was like, no, you should wear more fashionable clothes. Like what the girls are wearing. My mom almost encouraged her to wear, maybe not like revealing spaghetti straps, but like, yeah, wear nice things.
Spaghetti straps are that revealing? I did not know that.
I can't remember. Linguini straps, maybe. Penne straps.
Malton in Montreal said, your guest microphone looks like it's from Fisher-Price.
I mean, I'll be honest, it looks like a vibrator, doesn't it? Kind of.
Little bit, but I've never seen so much gold on a vibrator before. So
hell yeah, this is it's nice. It's just we wanna mix it up here.
I appreciate that.
I have another microphone, but I'm like, no, for Mona, we gotta go with the bling. I know you're a fan of the bling, so
I am a fan of the bling, man. That's true. Mark Lee said, is there anything longer than a cricket match? And I said, yes, an Indian wedding.
Yeah. Indian wedding, this electoral process, yeah, this is longer than
Okay, what the fuck, Prateek? What the fuck? Why are all these crazy Republicans?
Yeah, what happened today? I mean, not to date this podcast, but what's going on today with this, like, oh, let's just start. And it's some Texas Republican Trump payroll lackey guy who's like, let's just sue everybody.
Just suing everybody. But, look, SCOTUS has already showed it down. They already shut it down. They're like, no, it's not going to happen.
It just delays and mucks up the works. Nothing is actually going to – it just delays the process, which I think that's what Trump wants. Trump wants to –
it's not – you have to understand, since he started this bullshit, since the elections, you know how much money he's raised?
Yeah. It's insane.
He's raised over $207 million that he's raised. Okay, that goes to his super PAC.
PAC, control Koch brother, the Shadow League, evil empire type bullshit thing.
But the fucking Empire Strikes Back over here. It's fucking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see. Everybody's like, oh, he might run in the next election. My thing is, he's probably gonna start more of a media empire and control the next candidate. I think that's what he might want.
I was thinking the same thing, but someone close to the Trump camp came out and said that Trump is actually going to leave the country before the day of the inauguration.
Interesting, is it because of the fear of getting like arrested and all the legal stuff? Maybe
all the legal stuff, all the back taxes that he owes, the $421 million. He better bring the knee pads to Russia because he's gonna need them. Because
lap it up, he's gonna be a lap dog. He's gonna need knee pads. He's gonna need a shower curtain. He's gonna need to he's gonna be like those human sushi rolls, but for everybody else. Like he's gonna lap it up.
I mean, did you watch Rudy Giuliani fart in public? Did you see that video?
I mean, he's a human fart like that. Like his whole face, his face looks like a fart. Like he's had a hell of a year between Borat 2 and his face melting off Skeletor. He's a human train wreck after another. It never ends.
I mean, talk about going from like the mayor of the world when September 11th happened to
he was a superhero on September 11th.
Superhero. Yeah. To now farting in public and pretending like it's normal? No, sir, we do not fart in public. You don't even have to be, a Trump's lawyer. You don't even have to be, an official. You just don't fart in public. You just don't. Especially on
10-year-olds know that, and he doesn't know that.
Even on camera? On camera while it's rolling.
Well, we already know what he's done on camera. He's fucking tucking his pants in and doing all that creepy stuff on camera.
Wow, dude.
I love how he's like, oh, it's doctored. He's literally taking his hand and touching the actress's backside. That's not doctored, all right?
I mean, did you see Borat 2?
I did, and I saw it before the controversy. I wanted to see it that night, so I didn't have any spoilers. So I saw that scene like in context and everything. Wow. It's a fucked up scene. It's disturbing. There's no CGI there, folks. Any deniers out there like, no, man, no, there's no editing. That legit happened.
First of all, the fact that I'm sorry if we're spoiling this for people, but there's a scene where in Borat 2, Borat's daughter, who's a teenager, clearly underage, pretends is a reporter.
She's 24, but she's playing a 6 or whatever.
Right? And she goes and interviews Rudy Giuliani, who's very happy, and he's calling her a sweetheart and
super flirty, like
super flirty, totally creepy. And then she's like, "Maybe we go up to bedroom."
That's a good
right. Yeah. And then they go to the bedroom, and he's lying on the bed, and he's adjusting his penis, putting his hand inside his pants.
His hand is in his pants. That's not doctor. That's not industrial light and magic. That's not Lucasfilm fucking technology. No, that's his real hand in his pants. And also he's lying down while adjusting himself. Like, what are you doing, bro? With copious amounts of alcohol surrounded by it. Like, this is something.
Prateek, he said he was, quote unquote, tucking his shirt in. That's not what he was tucking.
No, he was tucking something else. He was tucking.
He was so tucking something. I think he was checking if it was even working.
He's got to activate it. He's got to find the reception.
I think he has, like, not to be crass, but some people have like penile pumps installed in their penises because they have erection problems. Mm-hmm. And there's a little button that it's like in their thighs, internal thigh, and you tap it and then you get the erection. And I think he was tapping maybe the button to get the erection going. I don't know.
God, he's something else. Tapping the erections, getting his hair drippings from his fucking face, like he's.
Talk about dying for attention. Dying for attention.
From Clams Casino to.
Wow, dude. You know what fascinates me is remember in 2016 the Trump campaign were like, lock her up. You remember? Yeah. These are the same motherfuckers now talking about getting pardoned by their daddy and not by their dad on their way out. Like, he wants to pardon his children.
So he doesn't get locked up. Yeah, it's so cute.
It's all very cute. So, motherfuckers, you were chanting for Hillary to be locked up, and now you want to be pardoned? Get the fuck out of here right now.
It's hilarious how, the Trump supporters still, like, sometimes I have certain friends who are friends with Trump supporters, and I'll go on their post just to see what people are. He has a machine operated, but I don't think he knows how. Yeah, there's of course a Republican machine out there. It's all Koch brother, evil empire money, all these psychotic billionaires, Epstein Island psycho people, Skeletors all controlling the money, all that lizard people shit. There's definitely secret money there. We know that. Here's the thing though, is it's great how Republicans have selective outrage. They only are outraged when it's the other side. They're mad at Hillary's emails. They're mad at Obama for Benghazi. But their candidate has done more damage to this country than any Benghazi or email filter or whatever. You know what I mean? Oh, and then now they're mad because, Hunter Biden is investigating for taxes. Yeah, the president's son maybe cheated on his taxes. Our actual president right now has avoided taxes, right? Not cheated them, avoided them for decades.
That's correct. Saying that he's a very smart guy for paying $750 in federal taxes. So he's the smart one, Prateek.
Yeah, Hitler was smart too, right? Yeah, everybody.
Jesus, he definitely. Yeah, listen, smart can be used in evil, and smart can be used for good, right? I mean, smart isn't just because. Like you said, Hitler was smart. Yeah, maybe to the fucking Nazis he was, because he eliminated 6 million Jews. But he was a fucking horrible fucking human being.
Oh, he's a horrible human being. What I'm saying is that, like, intelligence can be used for, like you're saying, it's an evil thing. It's like, what did Spider-Man say? With great power comes great responsibility. But you can also use it for evil. So
That's right. Prateek, we were just talking about South Asian parents and just kind of the expectation of what they want you to do and what they don't. So when you went to school and got like your double degrees, you got one master in economics and the other one in, what's the other one?
Management Information Systems. It's as interesting as it sounds.
Yeah. But when you did that, like, were they saying to you, hey, you're going to have a career after this, right? Like, you're going to be an economist, or you're going to go in finance or something.
That was the thing with econ. Econ is such like a grab bag degree. You either you could become an economist, but it was like everybody because I also got it from the commerce school, not the liberal arts school. So it was like everybody I knew was going into like Lehman Brothers finance mode. And I graduated around the time of the recession. So the other kind of challenge was my graduating class had such a low drop off of job acceptance because there weren't a lot of jobs out there. I lucked out that an internship I was doing, like they just fell into it where they're like, yeah, we needed somebody around to kind of, so they moved me into like a full-time position. I lucked out. I was like interviewing at places, not getting anything. So I think my parents also understood a little bit of like, hey, the economy is kind of rough right now. So, at least he has a job. They were just happy that that internship led to a job. I think they were just grateful about that because they had all their other friends, the Indian, like Desi comparison thing, but everybody else's sons and daughters weren't necessarily getting things. So they were like, oh, at least Prateek found somebody or found something. I haven't found somebody yet. I'm still alone, but I did found something.
How long, to what age did you live with your parents?
I moved out for college, and then when I was 23, I moved back for 8 months to help my mom with some health stuff. And then when I was like 32, I came back for like 5 months to help out with just some health stuff. And then I moved back in March of this year to help out with just some family stuff. So I really only lived on my own it's been by choice that I've had to come back, and then just for like helping out stuff. So it's more that they need me. They've actually asked me to come back more often. I'm like, no, I need my space.
What about your sister? Was she able to kind of move out and just kind of live on her own and stuff?
Yeah, she went to school. She went to Columbia University for her master's degree. So she got to live in New York for a year and a half. And then she ended up getting a job in the city of Chicago after graduation. So she moved back, and then she just wanted to save money commuting. So she's at home right now. And then I think she would have, if the pandemic hadn't happened, I think she would have moved out later this year. So, I think when things settle down, she'll probably move out again. But it's funny though. My parents have never been like, move out of the house. Or no, please stay. They right. We have like cousins in India. We have cousins around the country, but really we're very close knit. My mother, father, and sister. So they do miss us a lot. And they're always like, oh, why do you have to go moving out? Like they would have preferred I just stayed home after graduation. But I was like, no, I need my space. So, that's why I'm kind of enjoying. Yeah, it's annoying being with them right now, but I'm enjoying having some time with them too.
Good for you, Prateek. That's awesome. I really wouldn't know anything about something like that. But yeah, it sounds wonderful. My family, we've never had that kind of relationship in our family. So
it's tough. It's tough. But also I will say it's easier to have this relationship because I had so much distance away. So there's that too.
Sure, absolutely. I think for us, our family dynamic is just very complex. It's just, we've just had a lot of trauma in our family growing up, and it really kind of divided our family up in a way that, it's not usually something you hear in a lot of Desi or South Asian families, but that's just the way we kind of grew up, But we all live our lives and just kind of are independent and do well for ourselves, and so we're just like, okay.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm glad everybody's doing well though. Yeah, and I'm glad you got to talk up with mom once in a while.
I did get to talk up with mom. When she comes back, then I'm gonna get her high again because God knows she needs it.
And out west, you got the good stuff out west.
Good stuff out west. But is weed legal at least medicinally in Chicago?
I mean, there are dispensaries too in Chicago, but like the lines are so long that I know so many people just don't want to deal with it. They just want to support.
Delivery? What about delivery service?
Yeah, they have those. I pass on the grass. I don't do that stuff. But
pass on the grass, Prateek. Man, I don't think you've smoked a good kush.
What's funny? There's this comic. I think he's an LA comic. He's an LA comic. Tony Vin said that I look like I'm stoned and high on cocaine at the same time. People think I have all the best drugs, but no, it's not for me. Which who else I heard doesn't smoke? I heard Neil Brennan, the writer of Half Baked. I heard he doesn't smoke either. So it's
interesting. That's interesting. Last night I went and got my weed supply. And got home, took an edible, and then chased it with a joint, which is I was
living that life, baby.
Dude, can I tell you something? I woke up this morning and I was still pretty fucked up. Like, it was I had like remnants of it, and it's funny because my brother, when he knows, like, I tell him like about me smoking, and I'm very open about it and stuff, and he's like, I don't like it. I don't like that stuff, and I was just like, all right, that's cool. You don't have to like it.
You don't have to like it, but why do you have to judge other people? Like that's the other thing. I think that's where it gets a bad rap, where people are like, "Oh, Prateek doesn't like it, so he's judging." It's like, no, I don't like it for me, but hey, everybody. I'm a big believer in personal choices. Everybody's got to do what they want to do. I'm not a fan of like the non-cigarette smokers that cough in front of somebody smoking. It's like, no, don't do that. Just it's not for you.
Right. Absolutely. No, I'm totally with you. Prateek, how has I know you said you started off comedy, and so you still have a day job and you do comedy as well, correct?
Yeah, right now I'm dabbling in a little day job. It worked out. Like I literally just started this. It's a company that deals with like social media accounts and protecting kids from cyberbullies and suicidal thoughts. And I only started it recently, but it's like, yeah, it worked out perfectly for pandemic when all the shows were getting canceled. It's nice to kind of have something like that right now. And actually, like, I used to be a teacher. I used to work with kids, so for me, there's some fulfillment in doing that job. So I like having that right now, but awesome. It's a personal choice, really.
Right. No, absolutely. Yeah, man. I've just been I've been live streaming 5 days a week. I'm gonna hit 100 episodes. In another 6 episodes, I'm gonna hit 100 episodes. I've been doing this since the beginning of the fucking pandemic.
Look at that, baby! Congrats. I hope you have a big blowout for 100 ep.
I should. I think what I should do is smoke weed during the live stream.
You should do like a marathon or something.
As a form of like celebration, like we're celebrating by smoking weed. Prateek, you were talking about judgment and stuff. So we're gonna take a dive a little bit in like to the dark side a little bit. Okay. So I don't know what your experience has been. Like you and I have both done the Desi Comedy Festival, which is the all South Asian comedy festival. Place in the Bay Area. You've also done, like, I'm sure you've done predominantly South Asian crowds and South Asian rooms. And I have done them too. Do you feel like when you go up there and you perform, you almost have to, there's a level of like judgment that comes with your crowd, with your own people that judge you harshly, versus if you were performing in at Laugh Factory or at a comedy club, you get a little bit more leadway than versus performing for your own people.
I think, I don't know if it's I'm sure there's judgment. Look, I'm sure I think that's just inevitable that some people like to judge, make this guy like, oh, he's doing it. There is that, I think, a little bit from a form of bullying about Mona smoking weed. I maybe I'll drink 100 beers. Yeah, alcohol is more of my vice. But we'll see. Maybe I'll drink 100 beers I'm actually trying to do like a sober month right now, just because like, my birthday's in December, New Year's. I'm trying to like keep it sober right now. But maybe in the new year I'll have 100 beers for 100 episodes of the show. But internalized pressure. I definitely have I've had conversations with Indian people or South Asian after the show where they'll say things like, and not even criticizing the material. I had an Indian woman come up to you after the show and say, yeah, you were funny, but you're too ugly to be on TV. You should not.
What?
Your nose is big. That's what she said. She was like, yeah, you're funny, but you're too ugly to be on TV. So maybe you should just be a writer or something.
What did you say to her, Prateek?
I mean, I think I said something like, who hurt you, first off? Like, clearly.
Right. Who fucking hurt you, bitch?
Here's the other thing. Like, I get it. Like, a lot of Indian men can be verbally abusive. So I try to be very, I don't want to do anything and argue back or anything. I want to be respectful,
because you're a nice guy. But
I'm a nice guy. And also I don't want to be one of those like, oh, not all Indian men, but let's be honest here. Indian men can be kind of shitty sometimes. And I think we have to pick up, we got to pick up some of the slack right now. Indian men, they're not, we don't have a good look right now. We need to improve the look. So hopefully I can be one of those positive,
You are. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's not just Indian guys. It's just South Asian guys or even.
Yeah, South Asian. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Mark's like, you should have slapped her. Okay. That might be a bit much, Mark.
A bit much, right?
That's a bit much.
I don't want to end up on TMZ. Okay.
No, we don't want you to end up on TMZ at all. No, I've had people try to come and say some crazy shit to me. I had a hijabi woman once go kind of ape shit on me because she was like, you're not funny. I just don't find you funny. And it was an all Muslim crowd. It was like,
so it's like keep it moving. So what do you say? Keep it moving. Like, yeah, that's your opinion. Yeah, that's your opinion. I've definitely said, I think that's the harshest thing I've ever said to somebody. Yeah, some guy was like, yeah, I didn't find you funny, but like he walked up to me and said it. So it's not like I asked for your opinion. So I'm like, yeah, that's your opinion. You can keep it moving. Like, comedy is it's it's a variety. It's subjective. There's multiple people on the show. It's not like you came to just see me. So you're not going to like everybody. To each is their own. You can't.
I mean, what I did with the hijabi girl was that, first of all, I asked her if she was okay. And she was just like, what? That like threw her off. She's like, and she was like, what?
Kindness is key.
Yeah. And she was like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, I'm just trying to understand. I was like, you think maybe this has nothing to do with me, but everything to do with you? Maybe this has something to do with what's going on in your life, you know? And I was like, you're welcome not to laugh while everybody is laughing and fighting off cancer. You're building cancer in your body with all this anger and hate or whatever it's happening in your life.
It's toxic for sure. Yeah, it might not be, a tumor, but it's a sad, like anger cloud or whatever in the heart. Yeah. A black hole in the heart.
Like there's a black hole. And I remember like I was after that, like she walked away and I was just hanging out with all these audiences and having a really great time. You shooting the shit. And then like 15 minutes later, she comes back to me and she was like, you're right. This isn't about you. This is about me.
Oh, so that's good. Hey, you worked it out. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So she was pretty. Yeah, I think she kind of came to terms. I think I gave her a free therapy session. I should have charged the bitch some money.
You should charge, Venmo.
I'm like, that's $150 right there. Whatever your mommy daddy issues are, I fucking just took care of that shit.
That was a one-on-one consultation. That's what you provided.
One-on-one consultation. But think you were talking about mental health. I kind of ventured when I did one of the Desi comedy festivals. I went on stage and I started talking about growing up in a very physically abusive household. And I began to tell this one story, and I didn't know how the crowd was going to take it, right? Because although domestic violence is such a big part of our culture, sadly, it is.
Unfortunately.
Because people don't want to embrace it, but it is. It's very problematic. And I'm not just talking about Indian, I'm talking about Pakistani, I'm talking about South Asian.
Yeah, everybody.
Right. And I just didn't know how they were going to receive it. And they were beyond supportive, like beyond. And I feel like sometimes we underestimate or maybe not give them as much credit. People, of course, it also depends on where you are. Bay Area South Asians are just progressive on a different level.
More aware of things. Yeah, that's
more aware, more embracing, very much about female empowerment, very much about that. But if I don't know how that crowd would have been received if I had done it in Chicago or even in New York or even in in Florida. I don't freaking know. I don't know.
And was that a younger crowd also, if you don't mind me asking?
No, it wasn't a younger crowd at all. This is a crowd of anywhere from your 20s all the way up to your 60s.
Okay, that's great. So I think you hit the nail on the head with region. I think region makes a difference too.
Yeah. I think region does make a difference. Bay Area South Asians are drinking some other kind of water. I don't know what they're drinking.
But it's great. I will say, and it's funny because coming from Chicago, a lot of people are like, oh, Bay Area, they're going to be like too liberal and too tight. But I've had some great crowds in the Bay Area. Shout out to Bay Area, Samson and everybody at the Desi Comedy Festival. Great crowds. I think that's just some Midwest ignorance that, the Bay Area, they're tight. No, they're great. It's wonderful.
Yep. Mark Lee said, both of you, how do you feel about talking about mental health in your act? I think it needs to be talked about, but I wonder, are folk afraid to use it in their humor? I'm not. It took me a long time to finally get here, and I'm not going back in the mental health closet. I'm just not.
I'm definitely not going into the closet. If anything, I'm talking about it more. I touch on it a little bit in my album, but it's definitely something that I want to touch on more, as we move forward. I think this year, hey, look, let's be honest here. This year was definitely a challenge for everybody's mental health, and it's definitely something I'm plowing through. And some of the new material, as I build the next hour, I'm already talking about it in different ways. I don't really want to spoil any of the jokes, but it's something where, I think I definitely want to keep pushing that cart a little bit forward, especially in the South Asian community. But I also still think mental health is a taboo in a lot of different communities. I don't think it's just South Asian.
Oh, no. For sure.
Even in among your white communities and all, I still think it's still a taboo, So it's a challenge, not just for our comedians, but for every comedian. Keep touching on it, keep pushing forward. It's a taboo. And the only way to dispel these taboos really is through humor. Humor is that cathartic release, not to sound like a broken record, but I truly think we can make a difference, with these jokes.
Yes, I agree. I 100% agree. I mean, I think I'm able to talk about a lot of stuff through comedy and kind of tackle things in a way that I really, if I were to just talk about them like, just like straight laced, I think
TED Talk, yeah, it'd be kind of weird.
it will be very angry actually.
Yeah.
So it just kind of diffuses some of that anger for me. Prateek, you have first of all, your parents' names are Nick and Sheila, correct?
Yes. That it's not there now. I know some people are going to try to fact check me afterwards. Is it their legal names? Was it on their birth certificates? No, but it's a name. It's respective names that they've had for the majority of their life, and they like to go by it. So yeah, they like to go by Nick and Sheila. And yeah, I named the album after them. It was one of those things where, as I was compiling material for this album, because I had other material too, I could have put on the album. But yeah, absolutely, Mark. It is a taboo in the African American community. Absolutely. Oh, Latinx community. It's a taboo truly right now, mental health. And that's why it's all the more reason that we need to talk about it, especially if for no other reason than this year, Mona. This year was like the Super Bowl of mental health.
Right. It so was a Super Bowl of mental health. Mark said part of it is because of the way mental health was used as a tool of oppression. Yeah, I mean, sure, absolutely. But I feel like now you have so many more African Americans who are part of the psychiatry and the psychology world, right?
That too is another and I think we need more South Asians to take note of that. And hey, go into psychology.
That's right, go into psychology. Listen, there are. I do come across therapists who are South Asian and Middle Eastern and Persian, and more and more. My therapist that I was working with was an African American female therapist. That's who I was working with.
That's awesome. Hell yeah.
I was working with her. But yeah, I mean, look, I don't know about you, Prateek, do you go to therapy or have you been in therapy?
So I've done like some sessions. So I have the company that I work for, because we're looking at a lot of sensitive material. They have some wellness sessions that they offer. And so, yeah, I'll do that. I haven't done actual therapy, but I like doing the wellness sessions. That works for me right now.
Got it.
It's definitely something I'm, looking at, like all performers, but yeah, I'm happy with my wellness sessions right now. And I certainly, for anyone listening, I certainly encourage it. If you're feeling the need, please do it. Look into it. Everybody's different, but it's like a relationship, though. You have to find the right therapist that fits, and that takes time.
Prateek, I've been in therapy for 13 years. Very proud of it. And this week, I started EMDR therapy. And EMDR therapy is this rapid eye movement therapy. So when, it's kind of like the same when you go in your REM sleep, your brain repairs and processes information that you were consuming throughout the day. And it just begins to like compartmentalize and throw some stuff back in your subconscious and stuff like that. So what they do for people who have went through a lot of trauma, people like myself, the EMDR therapy, they go and they basically make you revisit the trauma and rewire the trauma.
That's really smart. I think that's great, especially, like you've talked about, you've had some unfortunate experiences. So hopefully that kind of helps you. Are you seeing progress through it or? No?
I just started this week.
Oh, you just started? Okay.
I just started with her. I mean, but therapy in general has been a lifesaver for me. I mean, I would probably be either dead or a basket case if I didn't go to There's no denying.
Have you told now here's the question, here's the $1 million question. Have you told your family that you did?
Oh yeah, I'm a huge advocate. I'm very, very open and very verbal about it.
That's awesome.
I encourage my family members to go to therapy. I'm like, you guys need to process your traumas. You need to go and fix the shit. I try to get my mom to a therapist in Malibu who spoke Urdu. And my mom refused to go. She refused to go to therapy. My brother, I've been begging him to go to therapy for years, refused to go to therapy. So there's a lot of taboo, man. There's a lot of fears. He's like, what do I say to my therapist? I was like, you tell him about your fucking traumas. I was like, my brother, you talk. And he goes, so you just talk? I was like, he's like, yeah, but why can't I do that with you? I'm like, because I'm not your
It is, or there are these taboos, but I don't even know if these South Asian taboos, just like things that I've heard people say, like, oh, therapists just prescribe pills. Like there's that myth.
Psychologists can.
Yeah, they don't understand that that's not how therapy works.
Listen, if you actually have a chemical imbalance that puts you in depression, gives you
you may need,
bipolar, schizophrenia. that's why those medications have been created to kind of, to heal you out, to be functional, to be able to live your life so it doesn't bog you down and destroy your life. So
absolutely, yeah.
I mean, that's why it's created.
Depending on your situation, yeah.
I have never taken a single pill in the 13 years of my therapy. Not a single medication. Have I been offered? Sure. But I just didn't think that it was going to do anything for me. So my therapists were like, all right, then don't take it,
Yeah. And that's great. I think that's something that a lot of, especially I definitely have heard that in the South Asian community. Oh, they're going to force pills on you. It's like, that's not really how it works. They may suggest, again, based on anybody's individual situation, they may suggest it, but ultimately you have the freedom and the ability to choose what you want to do.
That's right. They're not going to just grab you and inject you.
Okay, put it in now.
We're not in Pakistan. Relax.
Instead of stoning you to that, they just throw Lexapro at you.
They just throw Lexapro. You're just like, open your mouth. Open your mouth. Yeah, I mean, it's not like that. But you have an album. We're going to start wrapping up. But let's talk about your album, man. You have an album, comedy album coming out?
Yeah, I have an album. It's called Nick and Sheila's Kid. It's named after my parents. As I was putting material together for this, I was just like, you know what? There's so many stories about my family, and I really want to have that running theme in the album and not just have like, oh, it's just a bunch of random stories together. So there's a running theme in this special, our album. It's my debut album. It's called Nick and Sheila's Kid. It's a love letter to my family. It is formally going to be available on all platforms December 22nd. It is available right now for pre-sale on Amazon and iTunes. If you get it on iTunes, we will send you, me and my family, we put a little video up on Instagram. But if you send a proof of your iTunes pre-sale, we will send you a personalized video from me and my parents, Nick and Sheila. So that's pretty awesome.
That's very sweet, Prateek.
Yeah.
And how were you able to record this album? Was this recorded pre-pandemic and you're just launching it now? Or what?
Yeah, it was recorded pre-pandemic. Shout out to my producer, Dave Winnick, St. Dude Productions. They put it together. We were going to release it. We pretty much finished it in the summer, and we were thinking about releasing in the summer. And I just made the call that, you know what, December is my birthday month. It's a good energy month. The holidays are around this time too. And I thought, you know what, it's an album about family. And a lot of people deal with family in the holidays in December. So I'm like, you know what, let's release it in December to keep it kind of in thematic of the holidays. So that's why I decided to release it right now.
That's fair. That's entirely fair. No, I like that a lot. Is this what is it, like a 45-minute album, an hour? What is it?
It's about an hour. Yeah, hour long audio album. It's available on Spotify, all that good stuff. Spotify.
Is it also on? Is it also a video that you're going to be releasing, or is it just a?
We are going to be releasing the video in the first quarter of 2021. We're releasing we're going to do a vinyl. I guess this is exclusive. You get the exclusive, Mona. We're doing a vinyl release and we're doing the video release as well. That's going to probably come out like March or April. I don't want to give an exact date yet, but yeah, we're doing vinyl and video release.
That's awesome, man. I'm very proud of you. Congratulations. Is this your first album?
Yeah, this is like the debut album. I released a very small EP, like an 8-minute EP that's available right now called Read the Room, literally. My old mantra, Read the Room. So that's available on Spotify right now, Read the Room. But yeah, this is the debut album. And also, I'll tell your listeners also, we're doing a thing on December 18th that you're going to be a part of. It's called it's a virtual marathon show called 34 for 34. I turned 34 on December 2nd.
Yeah.
15 days later, I'm doing a show with 34 performers, and it's a virtual marathon show. We're going to run from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's going to be nuts. And we're raising money for St. Jude's Children's Hospital in Chicago. And if people want to donate, they can donate now. It's actually a charity that's very near and dear to my family's heart. We've been donating for over 10 years to St. Jude's. So if people want to donate, they can donate right now. Go to stjudes.org/donate, and you can donate right on their website.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I love all of this.
In the giving spirit, you got to.
I mean, it's a giving spirit. I love it. But where can people follow you? Where can they go to your website or something?
Yeah, I have a website, prateekcomedy.com. That's my first name, which you can read under there, Prateek. Prateekcomedy.com is the website. I'm also on social media. Facebook is facebook.com/PrateekComedy. Instagram is @PrateekComedy. Twitter is at the Daily Prateek. All that good stuff.
Mark said, what are some of your favorite comedy albums? I used to love Richard Pryor albums and even some Nipsey Russell albums.
I like Eddie Murphy's Delirious with the cookout story. That's one of my favorites. Yes. I like Bill Hicks's specials. People sleep on George Lopez's first special, Why You Crying? That's a great special.
Why You Crying is a great special. Who's sleeping on that?
Yeah, these hipster comic, it's like, no, that is a masterclass in storytelling and in using ethnic identity, but making it relatable. Like there were stories on there about his Mexican family, but I'm not Mexican, but I understood the references.
Me
and I think that's a great lesson, Mona, about like talking about your experiences, but making them relatable to everybody who's not South Asian. So he's a great example of that.
That is such a great point that you just made. The first time I ever noticed George Lopez or did he learn who he was is because of Why You Crying.
Yes.
And I remember the one specific joke which so I could relate to, and he talked about his Mexican abuela, but I'm talking about like my nani used to do that. My grandmother used to do that, where if we go somewhere and I'd be like, I want to buy that, and be like, he talks about the story.
We have it at home.
Yeah, we go to Disneyland and he's like, I want to buy a souvenir. He's like, souvenir?
Yeah.
Like, I want to buy a souvenir. He's like, I got you a souvenir. Like
right here. Yeah, that threat of violence. It's
get your ass in the car. And my grandmother used to do that. Be like, oh, but what if she's like, I will fucking give you one right
in
now.
The car. Yeah. Great special, underrated. Big ups to George Lopez.
Yeah, big ups to George Lopez indeed. Yeah, one of my, I must confess, one of my besides Delirious, besides Richard Pryor's live on Sunset, of course George Carlin's pretty much all his specials were. But I think Robin Williams, holy shit, his last HBO special was
the last one. Yeah, that's a great one too. I mean, just the force of energy that Robin Williams has. People don't touch on that enough. That he was just a force of nature. And as the stories came out, after he passed away, that he was the kindest guy off stage as well. Yes. People forget that.
Yes. For me, the comedy special that has changed my comedy life and comedy perspective forever is Hannah Gadsby.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Her first special, it like just changed me as a comic because I watched her and I was like, oh, you can talk about trauma like that? I don't know that. I don't know if you just give yourself permission as a woman to like talk like that. And she
opened it up. Yeah. I have not seen the full special, but what the parts that I saw and what I've read about it is it's a great little like introspective, like she's doing open heart surgery on her soul, so it's a great example of that. Yeah. And we need more examples of that. And it is kind of like it's monologue. It's, it shows that comedy can be not just like boom, 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 joke, like letting the stories breathe. And I think we need more of that because I do think, this is like, something that I'm noticing, especially in this meme culture that we're in right now where people want like, bite-sized comedy, quick comedy. And I wonder is this affecting the audience's attention span? So it's good to know that you have something like Hannah Gadsby's Nanette that is like something where it's like, yeah, you're not going to get, rapid fire jokes, but you're getting a variety of topics. You're getting more personal stories. You're letting the jokes breathe. It's kind of like very honest and raw. It's like David Sedaris too. It's great to that as well.
Yeah. Mark said Cheech and Chong, George Lopez,
Phyllis Diller. Shout out. Yeah. We haven't touched on enough female comics. Phyllis Diller was great. Joan Rivers, that documentary that came out, she was great too. And, again, talk about Joan Rivers, who, this thing of like being ladylike on stage. Joan Rivers kicked down that door. She was like everybody, she didn't care what you thought about her act. She was going to tell you what the fuck she thought about.
That's right. And I feel like, this is not a knock in any way, but, we have a wave of South Asian male comedians and Middle Eastern male comedians like your Hassan Minaj and your Maz Jabranis and your Kumail Nanjianis and, your even Kal Penn and, they're all kind of, but this kind of single female South Asian voice of like really coming out and talking about like shit that you're just like, oh my God, that fucking was like a gut punch. Like that was an amazing special. We're not there yet. I don't know if this has to do with the executives making decision. I think it is. But I think it also has to do with what society is ready for and what it isn't, maybe.
Right. And it's tough because there's so many great, female South Asian comedians on the come up. You're doing great. The facial recognition girls are doing great. Subha Agarwal is doing great. Like all these girls are on the come up. Mindy Kaling had that show that came out this year. I watched a little bit of it. And I hope that there are more opportunities because of Mindy Kaling and shows like that to kind of open it up, So you're right. There hasn't been like a household Maz Jobrani level for that.
But what bothers me is that they keep calling Mindy Kaling a stand-up comic, and it's like she's not a stand-up comic.
No, yeah, she was like a sketch she did a play where she played like Matt Damon. Like that was literally how.
Oh yeah, that's how she became him. Yeah. That's how she started getting her breaks.
Yeah, she's not a stand-up comedian per se, but I also hope that I think her presence will hopefully open up the door for South Asian female performers.
Sure. I think except that I think Aparna Nancharla is up there like doing her, but I think Aparna is very alt. She's just very alt. I think she doesn't really do the Indian identity thing too much. So she's very much in the alt world.
Right. But again, she does touch on mental health, so big on her for doing that.
Oh yeah, she does talk about mental health, which is freaking fantastic. Maria Bamford.
That's a lot of her act, but good on her for touching on that.
Man, Maria Bamford is like huge on that. She's amazing.
Shout out to Maria Bamford too. Yeah,
I love Maria Bamford. I think she's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Prateek, this has been a really fun conversation, my friend. Good luck to you with the release of the album. I hope you make a ton of money and buy a house from it.
Thank you, Mona. This has been a great conversation. We'll have to do this again soon.
Yes, we do. Thank you very much, my friend. Stay safe out there.
Stay safe. Take care. I can't wait to perform with you in person. That's coming one of these days.
I know. Soon, man. Soon.
All right. Take care, everybody. Thank you.
Take care. That was the lovely Prateek Srivastava. I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation. I definitely did. You guys, tomorrow, got some sad news. We're not going to have a live stream tomorrow. Why? Because Mona has a show that she's producing, a Minority Report show, our last show of the year. It's a virtual show. You can get free tickets at comedyatthecollective.com. I will put that here for you. It's comedyatthecollective.com. You can get your free tickets there. You can make donations if you want. The donation goes to helping LGBTQ homeless youth. It's true. And I am doing this in association with the Collective Realty, which is a big real estate company in West Hollywood. And we are very good supporters of the LGBT. We're very big supporters of the LGBTQ community here. The owner of the real estate company is also a member of LGBTQ. So I do everything in my power to support other minority groups. So if you guys, so tomorrow, 8 p.m. Pacific, there is a show that I am producing. So there would be no live stream, but you guys can come and join me there. Tell your friends. The tickets are free. If you want to make a donation, great. If not, just come watch the show. I'm going to be hosting. I'm going to be the opening act. Then we're going to have Jared Goldstein, who's a very, very funny comic. He's going to be our feature act. And then Jen Kober, who you can see in a bunch of TV shows, is going to be headlining. Hilarious. She's a hilarious comic. So no show tomorrow. I will see you guys tomorrow on Friday. Friday, you're going to see me twice, actually. So get ready for that. I have a live stream at 12, and then I have another live stream at 6:15. It's true. I'm doubling up just to make it up to you guys. I love you guys. Thank you very much for tuning in, as always. Mark and everybody else, I bid you good night. See you tomorrow.